into Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and FM.com. Now here are your hosts, Jeff.
I do want to get out our sponsor, IL Integrative Life Choices. IL is hiring direct support professionals all over the state of Nebraska, full-time, part-time days, evenings, and weekends. If you're interested, you can apply at ilc.net/careers. Direct support professionals work to ensure a meaningful life for the people they support. They work to support people in achieving their hopes and dreams. So big shout out to them. Thank you for sponsoring the Fitness Fanatics. I feel pretty good today, Harrison. I got up and ran for an hour today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, normally I know Nicole usually gives you a hard time for not running with her on Sunday morning.
Yeah, and then he was up just messing with my whole routine. We had to leave earlier because he was up and ready to go, and we had to get out there. But
yeah, so I feel good. I had it now, and I know Matthew, you're a big runner also. So out on the trail today, it's the first time for me. This is right when we started, and we went to the Alamo Center, started on that trail there along the Nebraska Highway, or Parkway, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Highway 2.
Probably 3 minutes into the run, and I see a skunk. Never seen a skunk running
Jeff
before.
has never seen a skunk in real life.
Not out like I've saw, and it's weird because I've seen
funny.
2 in the last month. One, I was driving to the Yankee Ridge location.
Wait, what do you mean in real life? You mean alive?
Like just he encountered a skunk today for the first time.
Yeah, encountered one. Like out just
I
seen
just think
one.
that's funny. I think you would think that's funny too.
Yeah, I'm just surprised.
Like where would I have seen one in my yard?
That's why I was like double checking. Like that's the first.
Like I've never walked by one. I've never seen one out just walking along the street, or I've smelled one, like a dead one. I don't know. I just think
that's funny.
Okay.
I don't know if that's uncommon.
He's a city boy. He's a city boy.
Yeah, I'm not country. I'm a city boy.
But I thought too. I'm so surprised because I started running before you because you were stalling, and so I took off and I saw it, but it was farther away, and it was like going into the like grassy area, so it wasn't close to me. So it must have circled back.
Well, it made its way back to the trail
because I
and
saw
it was right by the trail, and I'm running up to this thing, and I'm looking at it. Right. I got eye contact with the skunk.
How close away are we?
Probably where the window is.
Oh, okay. So you're right.
Oh, yeah.
It was close.
That's what I mean. Like, who gets that close to a skunk? But it was right by the trail. So I'm getting close to it. And as I'm passing it, all of a sudden, this tail goes up, and it's just...
Except it didn't spray.
Well,
just tail went up.
Oh, and it just, boom, out like this.
It was just the warning.
That moment... felt like an Olympic sprinter because I took off and I was running as fast as I possibly could because it looked like it started to come towards me.
Oh yeah, you got to run that off.
So I just flew down the trail, and I don't know how long I was running.
We looked
fast.
at it, and you could later looking at your pace, and there was a dramatic.
I don't know,
way faster.
Yeah, I don't know what I got to. But my strides were just long. I was running as fast as I possibly could because I was legit scared of this skunk.
That it was going to do what? Spray you? Attack you?
I don't know what it was going to do.
Okay. They could spray you, yes.
Would you have done the show if it sprayed you?
Well, well, probably.
That's what happens when you go early.
I feel like you'd have to call us first. Like, hey, I smell really bad.
Mm-hmm.
The station's going to smell awful.
I've never been sprayed by a skunk, so I don't know. The only skunk
dogs get sprayed by skunks before.
The only really skunk that I ever heard of growing up was Pepe Le Pew. Right?
You kind of
Harrison
over my head.
Oh my gosh.
Matthew's over here nodding his head. Yes, you know who Pepe Le Pew is, right?
No.
He was one of the cartoon characters for Disney, or like with
not Disney, Looney Tunes.
Oh,
right?
Looney Tunes, yeah. Like Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, okay.
It's those ones. It's those just like right hand hooks out of nowhere that just get you when you're
like now that
we're old.
You gave me the Looney Tunes skunk, like I can put it together.
Okay.
But
he's always trying to go after
Pepe Le Pew.
Pepe Le Pew.
He's French.
Maybe if you had a less complicated name.
It's kind of a stuck-up skunk, right? Like
I don't think
the name kind of sounds like it.
He was
always trying to go after that cat. Wasn't it a cat, or am I thinking of? Was it another skunk? I can't remember either. But
Matthew, you remember who Pepe was going after? Another skunk or a cat? You remember?
Someone should know.
I don't,
All right.
unfortunately.
It's probably a cat.
Probably a cat.
A
Yeah,
black
that
cat.
sounds right.
If you're out there
Could've been
listening,
I feel like it was a black cat, and it would always accidentally get some type of like a white stripe on it. So then he thought it was a skunk. But I'm also might be confusing that with Over the Hedge. Whenever,
That's what I was
right?
thinking.
I know.
That's I was like, wait, that's Over the Hedge.
I know, so I might be confusing that.
well,
too.
if you're out there
But
and
maybe
you
that was a nod.
you remember who Pepe Le Pew had affection for,
I think it was a cat.
you can hit us up on the text line. Let us know at 402-464-5685.
Yeah, I won't look it up yet. I'll wait to see if the text
Okay.
line
Yeah.
gets to it.
So if you could tell us, that would be great. That would be great.
Or you can comment on Facebook too, because we have some people watching. I can see.
Oh yeah, so comment on Facebook. We're also again on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Allo channel 951.
And do you have the text line in front of you?
No,
Okay,
I
I'll log
forgot.
it in after,
Yeah.
but we do have one
Oh.
from Headhunter. This was referring earlier. He said the Packers beating the Bears goes together like peanut butter and jelly. Learn to accept it.
You know what? I
But
really,
what if we don't?
really have accepted it. I mean, I have.
I didn't. I didn't accept it because I really, really want Justin Fields to beat Rodgers once.
Mm.
Like it's still gonna bother me that like we never Rodgers. He walked out saying I own you.
He did.
And
Yeah,
like he
that's-
forever. They can always go refer to the Rodgers era, and I'll be like, yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, I had to deal with Favre then Rodgers. So I had everything, like 35 years worth
But you saw us win a Super Bowl.
when I was 7.
Yeah.
And when I was
So-
like 7 or 9, I saw us go to the Super Bowl with the Colts, and that's how I became a Bears fan. I was like, oh, this is awesome.
That's how I
Set
was
up
when
for
I was
life.
7.
Yeah, but you were at least after they won that first Super Bowl, were they good to watch at least?
I was
Or not
7.
first Super
so I
Bowl.
I barely remember.
Okay.
There
So-
was a lot of hype though about that team.
Super Bowl shuffle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
that was a good era, and then like, man, I was just turned real bad.
They were good. They never got back.
like I was watching Brian Urlacher forever as like the best Bear player.
Yep, Urlacher and Lance Briggs.
Mhm.
And yes, I remember all those teams. Just unfortunately, we went up against the team of destiny and Peyton Manning.
It's kind of crazy you pick a team just to, and most likely you're going to be miserable most of the time.
Yeah.
Only one team wins it.
Right.
But
Right.
You're going to
And
commit
they're
your
only
entire.
good for, a
Yeah.
stretch of time. Theoretically, like in your entire lifetime, even if you're a Patriots fan, whatever, in your entire lifetime, it's more heartache than
Yeah,
it
that's
is-
why you got to celebrate if you just make it to the playoffs. Like if you're the Kings and you're getting a hard time, because it's the first time you made the playoffs in 16
Right.
years, you cherish that.
Yeah.
So it was
Well-
16 years since you got to one.
And even like Chiefs fans now, I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't go to the Super Bowl for 50 years.
yeah.
It's just now
Golden window.
they're having their success, and my friends that are Chiefs that I've known have been Chiefs fans their whole lives. I mean, that's great.
Is
I'm
your
happy
biggest
for 'em.
fear that you wasted your golden window at 7? And that you might never get that golden
I
window
didn't
again.
know at the
team
time.
peaked.
No.
in the
The
80s.
Bears peaked in the
Surely
1985.
not.
That's a real possibility. That's what's scary.
Surely
Yeah.
not.
You never know when but anyways, we're all over the place.
I know.
It's
That's
Just
okay
it's
though.
Football season's right around the corner.
I know
can't help it.
we're getting excited. We'll talk to
It's
Matthew.
almost
and-
like I'm not here. You two are just hijacking every conversation.
well, she won't be here in a couple weeks, so mark that day is October 12th.
What's going on? Are you guys on a trip?
She's gonna be in Iowa. Seeing
Okay.
new
Not
kids on the block.
October, August.
August.
Yeah.
She's
a
seeing
couple
new
weeks.
kids on the block. You know who they are?
New kids on the block.
Stop it. You know who New Kids on the Block are.
Yeah, it's familiar, but no.
Oh my gosh. I
What is it?
refuse
It's
to.
music.
You are joking. I do not believe
Let me
you.
look it up.
But stop. But we are also now.
Oh, it's a boy band.
Yeah, boy band.
You're seriously
Yeah.
telling me you had to look it
I
up.
knew it was music. I just
But you might know who's opening for New Kids on the Block. It's Jesse McCartney is opening for New Kids on the Block. Do you know who Jesse McCartney is? He's
Yes,
more
I know
your
who
type.
Jesse McCartney
Yeah,
is.
see, and he's opening. My daughter's kind of mad that she's gonna miss out.
Origins 1984 though, so that's fair. I wouldn't know them.
No, but they're like a really big boy band. Like, come on.
It's like I grew up in a generation that was One Direction Harry Styles.
Yeah, I guess.
Or not Harry Styles. What's his I can't think of it. There's tons of them. I
Yeah.
grew up in a very different
Not One
generation
Direction,
of boy
but-
bands that were inspired by Disney.
Right.
Disney fueled boy bands.
I know. But Big Time Rush. Did you watch Big Time Rush? Have we talked
No,
about
I
Big Time Rush?
remember the show. It was a big one.
Oh my god, my daughter and I are Big Time Rush super fans. We've seen them in concert 4 times.
Jeff, that's got to be awesome. Go home watching. Big Time Rush on
Well,
TV.
and when our daughter was young, Nicole was stay-at-home mom, so I was work, so
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't watch.
It
the
was her
show.
first boy band. It was
Yeah.
like her first whatever. And they put on an amazing concert, by the way. They're on tour right now, but they never came anywhere close. Actually, if I look on my Facebook memories, it was a year ago today. We were in Kansas City for the Big Time Rush concert. It was so much fun.
And Pete Ferguson compares New Kids on the Block, and he puts Dash, Matt, Rule, and Staff.
Okay.
A nice little comparison there.
Yeah. Yep.
And
I don't know New Kids on the Block. So I
Because
don't know
Matt
how all
Rule's
that
a new
works.
kid on the block.
Oh, he's yes.
You know,
I did see New Kids on the Block in concert a while
you
back.
did. You went with me.
But I enjoyed the opening better, which was Boys to Men.
Oh, okay, nice.
That was really
Now
that was
you're
in
just
Omaha.
humoring us. You're just like, oh, okay.
Oh,
we'll just,
nice, yeah.
yeah.
Boys to Men. I actually know that. one.
Okay.
I mean, that was
I feel
pretty
like
pretty
I'm-
awesome.
I'm grasping for like when you guys say certain things, that just grabs certain ones that I do know, so I can sound like I'm relevant.
It's
like, oh,
okay. It's humbling. And someday you'll be us and you'll be like, oh my gosh.
yeah. Dude, my biggest fear is like when I get older, I'll be talking to like half cyborg.
Right,
I don't
that's
know what I'll be
possible.
talking to.
My big wake up call was the time when I went to go get my hair cut and I realized the person cutting my hair was younger than me. Have you had that happen? Probably not yet.
No, I still get that. I'm still like I'm at the point now where I'm like, oh, she checks my ID. Nice.
Right. Yeah. So you'll get there and it'll start to turn and everyone will be younger than you, especially if you stay in Lincoln, a college town, because there's just these kids just look like baby now.
Anything else we got going on?
No, I think we can go to break.
All right.
Then we'll come back with our real show and
Yeah.
we'll talk to Matthew.
All right. We'll be back here. Don't go anywhere. 93.7 The Ticket, the Fitness Fanatics.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln, across Nebraska of services. From group independent living resources and job and support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring lighting and apprentices on great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, call 988 for free, confidential, and compassionate support. On July 16th, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is transitioning to 988. There is hope. For 24/7 support, call, text, or chat 988.
Sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Husker fans, register your kids for the Nebraska Kids today. Don't miss your chance to get exclusive events and concessions vouchers for this Husker season. For only $35, your kids can get all of that and more. For more information, visit huskers.com/kids club. Do you have a newborn or know someone who does? Their infant membership is the perfect gift for your newest Husker fan. They even have a free membership option. Visit huskers.com/kids club today. The Nebraska Kids Club, presented by Hy-Vee.
I'm Chris Jackmick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people. Everyone is my business. But unfortunately, in that year, I would lose my own Adam Jackmick to suicide. A veteran suicides. I have securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My serve never stops.
Brought to you by End Fire and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang that I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action. Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit
AARP.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Council.
Ashiro's work is you care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now it's time to care for yourself and save for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit asiaretirement.org/Shiro today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 A Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Okay, welcome back in, Fitness Fanatics. We had kind of an interesting first segment. We were kind of all over the place. Matthew had asked Harrison a question during break that we need him to answer as to why he needs ID to get his hair cut.
Yeah, no, that was what were we talking about?
We were talking about that's when I felt old for the first time.
Oh,
the
yeah.
person cutting my hair was younger than
Yeah,
me.
and I said I feel good when people still check my ID for anything that
Needs an
requires
ID, not a
an ID.
haircut.
Yeah, not a haircut.
Yeah,
Although
so-
there is a actually no free sponsors. I won't mention.
Oh, that's true. There's
Mhm.
yeah.
But
There's
there is an
sometimes-
alcohol and barber place.
Yeah.
Open up in Lincoln, which
So you would
is
need an
different.
ID for that.
Yeah,
but
you would need an ID.
I feel like that's maybe you're gonna start high dollar haircuts here
Nah, I
pretty
think
soon.
Maybe I'll ask Molly Peterson, who
Maybe-
cuts my hair, if she can have a couple shots for me when I come out next time.
Yeah.
You just take a couple
Just-
shooters in your car and
You
walk
just
in.
turn
Right.
her place into a haircut and
Right.
and
Drink spirits.
drink
Yeah.
spirits. Yes. yes.
Anyway, so no, they were not related, but that was funny. 'Cause- but it's a thing apparently nowadays.
All right. Well, nobody's texted in on who Pepe Le Pew's love affection was in the
Oh yeah.
cartoon.
Should you look it up or should I?
No, I haven't looked it up yet. But anyway,
Okay.
all right. So we're
Way
joined.
more important things to talk about. today.
Yes, we're joined in studio by Matthew Nolde. So we had the Husker road race, or the Nebraska road race, a couple weeks ago. That actually wasn't a road race; it was just a meet and greet turned into. But I wasn't really disappointed that I didn't have to run. It was okay.
Mhm.
So I met Matthew out at the road race. We were standing there in Cook Pavilion, and I look over.
Cook Pavilion.
Or yeah, that's where we were.
I know, but
Cook
it's not
Pavilion.
called that, right?
That's what it's called.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cook Pavilion, right? Am I
I
right?
thought it was Hawk
Harrison?
Center.
It was Hawk Center.
I was
Yeah.
looking up. It's a cat, by
Ooh.
the way. but
Hawk Center.
I was
Oh,
looking
it's a
up-
cat.
Yep.
That's what I said. I
Yep,
thought it
you
was
were
a
right.
cat.
So
Okay.
maybe the head
Okay.
was a nod.
Yeah. Okay.
But would you ask me? I'm sorry.
Why did I think it was Cook Pavilion?
It used to be called that.
That's what I used to.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
So the Hawk Center.
Hawk Center.
Hawk Center. Okay.
Anyway.
So anyway, I look over and I see this guy standing there
Mhm.
that has no feet and no hands. And
Blade.
running blades
Yeah.
on.
Right. To be
And
clear.
I'm like thinking, I was like, looked at Nicole and I said, I'm gonna go talk to this guy because our theme of this show today is, I posted this on Facebook yesterday. What excuses have you been using to hold you back from taking care of your health and wellness? Something to think about. So
or
I'm-
just anything,
or
like
just
something
anything.
you've wanted to do, but you kind of hold yourself back because you think you can't do it, or you're just scared, or
Yes.
anything. It doesn't
Yes.
have to be about health.
So I saw Matthew stand there and I looked in Nicole and I was like, I'm gonna go talk to this guy because
You've never seen. So, do you go by Matthew or Matt?
Matthews.
Okay.
Okay.
So you've never seen Matthew at races
Well, I
because
have.
Matthew has definitely passed me at the Lincoln Half Marathon before.
I have I just-
running down
I just-
Highway 2.
I don't think I've seen him
Okay. Okay. I was
as,
just wondering.
as the host of Fitness Fanatics. where
Okay.
I'm just like,
from that lens.
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So I thought
I feel like if anyone's done the Lincoln Half, you've probably because you've done it a good amount of times. Yeah. Yeah. So
But yeah,
I've definitely seen you.
I've seen him, yes.
but that's
that's
not where you're like, hey, let's chat for a minute.
no,
'cause we're
no.
running.
So that's what I thought. I was like, I'm gonna
Okay.
go talk to this guy and see if he wants to come on our show. And when I first met you, I didn't ask, oh, well, what happened? I just came up and introduced myself, said, hey, we're on a show, the ticket, and Lincoln, Fitness Fanatics. We try to inspire people every week. Hopefully we do that for some of our few listeners out there. So Matthew, give us a little bit of info, your background, where you went to school, where you grew up, just a little bit about your history. So I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeff.
Yes.
So I am a father of two. That's probably my most important characteristic. My daughter will be a senior coming up. And my son will be a junior. I live south of the Omaha metro area. Been there since 2017. Kind of moved around quite a bit with teaching. So,
okay.
I'm an art teacher at the elementary level, so that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. I grew up in Lincoln. I was born, unfortunately, in Iowa.
That is unfortunate.
Me too.
I was born in Nebraska. Nicole was born in Iowa. So
Where in Iowa were you born?
Harlan, Iowa.
Okay. Yeah.
So not too
Oh,
far.
I know right where that is.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
I know right where that is. Yes.
Moved to Lincoln. My father was a Navy vet from the Vietnam era. He was a repairman, appliance repairman. So he got a job here in town back in early 80s, like a year after I was born. So I grew up in Lincoln. I really don't obviously remember too much about Harlan. So I grew up in Lincoln, went to Rousseau Elementary. So anybody out there listening, go Rams. Then went to Pound Junior High and on to Lincoln Southeast. Graduated in the year 2000. So kind of, I think Southeast is starting to rebound with their athletics, but I know they took a pretty big hit when the two new high schools opened up.
Yeah.
Southeast was pretty dominant in football in the late 90s, early 2000s. I did not play football. I was only 110 pounds soaking wet. So I was a wrestler.
Awesome.
Which was a lot of fun. Not the greatest wrestler, but definitely taught me a lot about life skills. And I think it was kind of the first notch in getting over maybe some of my shyness.
Sure.
I think being born with differences, which is how I have my limb difference from birth. I get asked a lot. I'm sure that's probably why you didn't ask, but I'm okay. People asking what happened, and depending on the situation or if I can read the person well, I might throw out a few jokes. Like if I'm at a fireworks, it's pretty easy to throw out some jokes. When they tell you to have a good Fourth, I'll say, well, I hope it's better than last year. Just try to get
probably like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's probably how I
That
would have
put you in a
if you would have
tailspin
said
for
something
sure.
to me like that.
Yeah.
Like if I would have said, oh my gosh, what happened? I would have been like,
You would not have recovered.
no.
Or, at a public pool, I might, name a shark attack or something like that. No, it was later on in life, I realized from a doctor that the possibility of my limb differences was a blood clot during my mother's pregnancy.
Okay.
And being born in 81, they didn't have obviously technology like they do now. So my parents expect me to be born the way I am. But they definitely, from day one, I think had the right intentions of treating me different than my older sibling.
Right.
I have 3 older siblings, 2 older brothers and older sister, 2 of which still live here in Lincoln. My oldest brother isn't.
That probably prepared him pretty well too. Like you were the 4th kid. Like
Right.
they're like, well,
Yeah.
we know how to do everything else. So it makes sense that they would be a little more relaxed about that, or a little more, luckily you weren't the first pancake. Luckily you
Right.
weren't the first kid,
Right.
because
No,
that would have been more nerve-wracking for them.
They've been through it all. So, but yeah, I went to college here in Lincoln, did the community college route for a couple of years, a lot cheaper that way. And then graduated with my bachelor's of art from Nebraska Wesleyan.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
And then later on down the road, I got my master's degree in school counseling from Buena Vista in Iowa, Storm Lake. I taught for a while in Iowa as well as here in Nebraska. So, yeah, it's a little bit of my background there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, like, how was it kind of growing up? I know you kind of wrote me a little bit background story about with like your prosthetic legs and stuff. So, how was that growing up as a kid in elementary and middle school? Tell us a little bit about that, like kind of what you went through and those types of things.
You know, I had a good small group of friends that were always pretty respectful and kind. I mean, we joke around,
sure,
once in a while, and I'm pretty easygoing. But of course, there were kids in school that were rude. You know, I did get picked on from time to time, but I do think being raised the way I was, it was kind of a, you know, you can stay pushed down or you can get back up. And I think when people recognize you're not going to put up with, you know, their ridicule or it doesn't faze you, I think eventually they kind of lay off. But, you know, growing up here in Lincoln, I think was great. I was a huge Husker fan.
And we're about the same age. So you're born in 81. I was born in 78. So
Okay, yep.
Growing up in school, we were at the height of the Nebraska dominance.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, you know, people talk about Nebraska glory days being the 90s. Granted, it's the last time we really won a lot, but growing up in the 80s, man, we had some really stellar teams.
Absolutely. Yes.
Sorry, getting off on a sidetrack here, but
that's the name of the
that's
show.
What we do.
Practically.
Yeah. I think it's that 95 year that steals a lot of that, though. That 95 team was insane. So I think that's why it's always referred to as the 90s.
Yeah. Well, that's when they won the championship.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Plus, you don't just come out of the box that way. It was it was building up to that.
But yeah, 80s were good too.
Yes. Yes. I don't really
You've
remember.
Heard, so you've heard.
I've heard.
I don't really remember. I mean, I remember bits and pieces of it. Some probably you, because
you lived in Iowa too, so that was a little bit different. Like you were on the listening just on the radio if you could get it, and that was probably a little different than being here.
Talking about school and getting made fun of, and I mean, I had when Nebraska lost to Iowa State in 1991, I had people putting newspaper articles on my locker when I walked in for school. Teachers wrote it on the board.
I've never heard that before.
Oh yeah. Now, I may or may not have brought that on myself.
You did. So. You did.
So I mean, just maybe, I maybe a little bit. I was a little cocky, back then. Not so much now, but yes. Okay, so
what was the progression of your prosthetics and stuff like that? Because I mean, I imagine in the 80s, technology is probably a lot different now than it was back then.
Oh yeah, for sure. And
that's what we were talking about.
Yes, we were.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I don't know if I'm considered an old man, but I kind of have old man tendencies where change is not always embraced by myself too much.
Yeah.
So I have two pairs of prosthetic legs. Obviously, the ones that you saw me in were my running legs, which I was very lucky enough to get those about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years now. But yeah, growing up, my first pair of prosthetics I got from the Shriners Hospital in the Twin Cities. They were almost like a brace, like an orthotic,
Yeah.
And then they stuffed like the foot part with some kind of a filler,
Okay.
Because my legs end basically where like your ankles begin. So if you can picture that, it's just like a big dog bone, not to be too grotesque, but so my legs go into a socket. There's a liner and then it goes into the main socket. Obviously, when I was younger, those were made a little different. Now they're up in their game quite a bit. And my running legs are carbon fiber. They have more spring in them. Whereas my walking legs, when I started running in 2015, I kept breaking my walking feet.
Mhm.
Right.
They bolt into the leg part that holds my what I have, and those are just not made for the high impact of running. And so I see a gentleman here in Lincoln, Randy Brown from Hanger, and I think he was tired of seeing me break all these feet. So we talked about doing some running legs, and I was very lucky to get a pair of those, because a lot of times insurance companies won't cover them. They think walking is enough. Obviously, you guys know it's not.
Mhm.
Yes.
enough,
Yes.
So what was the process like growing up? So did you learn to walk with like your braces on?
According to my parents, I walked without them.
Okay.
I don't know if Lincoln still had Little Green Track Club.
Oh, I don't know.
Little Green. We used to run over Lincoln High has a track. And I did track like 1 or 2 years, and I ran without any
Okay.
prosthetics.
Mhm.
But obviously, the older you get, you just can't do that, because my right leg is probably 2 or 3 inches longer than my left.
Yeah.
So even when I wrestled in high school, like I couldn't wrestle with my legs on. I probably knocked them out. So I had to take them off, and my older brothers wrestled, so we took one of their old pair of wrestling shoes and just cut like the foot off and sewed up so they would fit on me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you do that too long, you probably screw up your back because you're just not even.
Right.
But yeah, when I learned to walk, I learned without any kind of prosthetics.
Okay.
So when I did get to prosthetics, I'm sure there was a process.
Yeah, but you don't remember, because that's just kind of
I
always how.
don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I have.
Which is such a testament to kids too. I mean, kids are so resilient. Like, you didn't know any
Right.
different. So to you, it's just
Yes.
like, this is
Yeah.
me. So, we
Yeah.
kind of need to keep that mindset, I think, sometimes. It's like what is possible when you're a
Right.
kid. Yeah.
I think it's just adapting and finding a way that'll work. It
Mhm.
may not look like
Everyone else.
everyone else's way,
Right.
but I found a way, and my family definitely was my guidance there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So when you wrestled, like, where did you said you wrestled in high school and stuff? Like,
Yeah.
So how did that go? I mean, I remember watching. Probably can't remember how long ago there was a wrestler that had one leg from, I can't remember what, like Arizona State
Yeah.
or that was the
Yep.
pulling out of the
Yeah.
sports
Oh.
memory bank. I
Yeah.
can't remember something she told me to do yesterday,
Right.
but I certainly
I'm glad
remember
that's
that.
stuck right in
Right.
there
Yeah,
somewhere.
so I remember watching him wrestle in the national championships, quite a few years ago. So how was that? Were you good? Did you
He said he wasn't that good. I mean,
Well-
he was probably, you were pretty good in wrestling.
I was amazing wrestling in third grade.
Third
Yeah.
grade.
I mean,
Jeff's not really very good at
some
sports.
things that I regret is not continuing to wrestle.
Yeah.
Because I was really good in third grade. I mean, my only loss was to an eventual state champion when he got to be a senior.
What was
Just
your
saying.
walking around weight in high school? Trying to figure out what weight class it'd be.
I was like
Small.
135.
Small.
135.
Yeah. But if I wrestled, I probably would have been training and lifting. I would have been different. You
Yeah.
know?
Sure.
But
Sure.
anyway,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So back to that. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah. I saw my fair share of gym rafters. I guess you could
Oh.
figure that
Yeah.
out. I was no stellar wrestler, but it was definitely a good sport for me. I wrestled when I was little as well.
Yeah.
And obviously, like you, I was a lot better, in third grade.
Oh.
And then in 12th
Well, what are you
grade.
saying now?
There's your dreams are
The
dashed.
competition gets tougher the older you get.
I don't know. You did live in Iowa, so that probably was a little harder.
Central
Yeah,
Iowa, which is there is
that's-
a lot of wrestling.
I was
Yeah,
wrestling.
yeah, big
state
time
for sure.
Yes, they are. That's true. But
All right.
okay.
Well, we are up against
Yes.
the break. We're going to talk a little NFL football coming up, which is one of our favorite segments with our guests. So we'll be back on 93.7 The Ticket, Fitness Fanatics.
Sunday morning. It's quiet, not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chip breakfast bread. Now, maybe you're a streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, much about those pecans. But the real is no. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules. I get why we have them. I hear you. And I know it's because you care.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Sponsored by DHHS and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find full education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
All Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top shelf liquor to crowd favorite beer, Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
General contractors, business owners, property owners, business with the right people, and the right people when it comes to drywall, acoustical ceilings, and specialty products are at Premier Drywall. Kevin and his will give your project the respect and attention it deserves.
You'll get all of the attention to detail and quality that you would expect from someone who's been in the business for 30 years. For your new builds, build outs, reach out to Kevin at premierdw.com. Premier Drywall in Lincoln.
Hey, moms and dads, bring the whole crew to a Salt Dogs baseball game and unleash the fun. Visit Haymarket Park all summer for fireworks Fridays, souvenir Saturdays, Sunday family fun days, and more. With 50 home games, even weekdays can be unforgettable. Playing an event? Home run with group discounts. When you need an outing the whole family will enjoy, unleash the fun with the Salt Dogs. Call 402-474-2255. Visit saltdogs.com for tickets.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
So Matt Davis in the studio, president of the 1890 of Nebraska's NIA.
We have some we're going to announce, I think, in the next few weeks. Sure. So I think 1890 company is really good. I think we have the ability to have a top 5 collective in the country. I think we're trending that way.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Fitness Fanatics. We got a short segment here for you. We're joined in studio by Matthew Nolde. Lincoln, or grew up in Lincoln, went to Lincoln Southeast. Now he teaches in the Omaha area, teaches arts to elementary kids. So we're glad that he took time to drive down here to join us Sunday morning. One of our favorite segments we like to chat with our guests is a little NFL talk. Harrison's a Bears fan. I'm a Bears fan. Cole's a Packers fan. Our kids are Ravens fans.
Wow.
So that's just kind of how, we evolved as a family. It's just okay. So favorite NFL team and how you became a fan of that team.
Okay, well, this goes back to my days of a Husker fan in the 80s. My older brother played midget football. I don't know if they call it midget football anymore. Youth football, tackle football for Leons.
Okay.
And we were at a game, and in the stands was Broderick Thomas.
Okay.
The Sandman. So we kind of befriended one another. It was kind of like, this is before like teammates really took off with Osborne.
Yeah.
But Broderick was almost like my teammate.
Oh, awesome.
He came to my birthday parties.
Oh, that's an awesome story.
Took me to the stadium. I saw the
Wow.
old weight room and the locker room, when it was in the south end zone. He even came to my wedding later on.
Oh, that's really cool.
Divorced now, but like the wedding part was kind of cool.
So, if a football player came to my wedding, I'd be talking
I
about
would never
it.
stop talking about it.
Be like, no, this guy, he was at my wedding. Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah. Him and Lawrence Pete. I don't know if you remember Lawrence Pete. Steve Taylor.
Oh, yes. Steve Taylor.
Mark Munford. Like all those guys were just like idols for me growing up. So, once Brooke, graduated from the university, he got drafted by Tampa Bay.
Yep.
And back then, Tampa Bay was trash.
Mhm.
They still had those cool creamsicle uniforms that now everybody seems like, they're the awesome uniforms. But I remember in the early 90s, nobody liked them.
Right.
But anyway, I loved them. And I followed Broderick through those years in Tampa. So I was a pretty big Buccaneers fan just because of him.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had Derek Brooks as well back then.
That was a little later in the Super Bowl
Was it?
years.
Okay.
Yeah, Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
There was another linebacker with Broderick. I can't think of his name right now, but he was pretty stellar as well. But then Broderick got traded, I think, Detroit or something, and he played for Minnesota and Dallas. I was never really a fan of those. I do remember Neil Smith playing for the Chiefs. So I'd say the Buccaneers because of Broderick, but just because they're local, they're nearby. Neil Smith, former Husker.
Yeah.
Great pro football player. So I'd say right now, Chiefs are probably my team. I probably sound like a bandwagon jumper.
Living large right now. Living large.
But, I just, once those players that I followed from the Huskers as a kid were out of the NFL, it just was kind of hard to follow and root for teams.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy following the Huskers that end up in NFL, and Levante David's doing some great things in Tampa. So
yeah.
But yeah, I would say Tampa or the Chiefs.
Now I knew Broderick Thomas was on Tampa Bay because he is on Tecmo Super Bowl.
Right. Yep.
He's a linebacker on Tecmo Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I play Tecmo Super Bowl all the time, play it online. So I knew he was on there. He's not very fast though. He's kind of like he's not a fast linebacker on the game. I mean, no offense. That's just what the game rated him as.
They skimped him on the speed a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, he's a slower linebacker. Tampa Bay on that game, they had Wayne Haddix, which is like one of the best defensive backs on the system. And Vinny Testaverde. Yeah. Like if I was on a trivia, if I was on a trivia game show for the 1991 NFL rosters, I would be money on that
because of Tecmo.
Because of Tecmo Super Bowl.
Right.
Maybe not the offensive lineman, but all the defense, I mean,
I've never
everybody.
seen that as a category on Jeopardy, and if it was, nobody would pick it. Like they don't pick those.
They just let time run out. They're
They
like,
don't think they do time limits anymore, but they used to, and no one would ever want to do the sports questions.
Yeah, they on Jeopardy, and I'm always like, do these people even have a life? I mean, they
I
don't
did
wanna-
notice that you watch Jeopardy, sports is always last.
Yeah.
It's the layup for your everyday
They're like,
person, but the people that
fine.
are smart and have better things to do,
I know.
they know everything else.
Yes, that's my thing. They don't have a life.
your
Like, how do
only
you not pick
chance to
NFL
sweep the
for the
category.
category? And then we're just waiting and waiting and waiting for these questions to come up. And then it's just bam, 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 bam. We got it.
Yep. That's
All
funny.
right.
Okay.
Well, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to get into Matthew's fitness journey as an adult, running, all that fun stuff. So don't go anywhere. 93.7 The Ticket, Fitness Fanatics.
I heard you and Jack had a disagreement.
Yeah, he says I keep things from him.
What are you going to do?
He loves the Nebraska Lottery's Powerball First Millionaire of the Year promotion. So I'll buy a Powerball with Power Play and August 14th and one of 15 winners of $1,000. I'll also be entered for a chance to win a New York City for New Year's Eve and a chance at $1 million.
That make him happy?
Depends.
On what?
If I decide to tell him I won.
Powerball top prize odds 1 in 292 million. The lottery presents one beautiful crazy scratch ticket in promotion. It's the $5 Living Lucky with Luke Combs scratch ticket with a $50,000 top prize. On winning Luke Combs scratch tickets for an opportunity to win a trip to Nashville, a private concert with Luke at Imatorium, and a chance at $500,000. The Living Lucky with Luke Combs concert experience will hit you like a hurricane. Details at nelottery.com. Living Lucky with Luke Combs scratch ticket top prize odds 1 in 128,000.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
You've driven by GE Landscape Supply countless times, likely without even knowing. At 6701 Highway. Now it's time to stop in. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. They sell in bulk to save you money, and you can buy anything from a 5-gallon bucket to a semi-load. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere. Stop by 6701 Cornersker Highway from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday and 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Go to GELandscapeSupply.com for more info. 467-627.
If you want all the latest technologies from those big, but you also want that hometown feel when you walk in the front doors, choose Midwest Bank. They have top-notch technology. They make banking so easy, and they also have the friendliest staff who will take their time to get to know you and treat you like family. You get the best of both worlds when you choose Midwest Bank. I live on the go, and now I can bank on the go. With Midwest Bank, I have everything I need at my fingertips. I'm volleyball player Allie Batenhorst, and at Midwest Bank, you'll love banking here.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe a child is bullying them or is following them. On a date, and here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Veterans, do you know what local, state, and federal benefits and services you're eligible to receive? Do you want help navigating the application or process? Speak to your county veteran officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs. State what's available to you and your family. You've served our country, now let us serve you. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs and this station.
This is where it happens.
long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zip line gliding, rock-based climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. NTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Welcome into Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Oh, here are your hosts, Jeff and Nicole Essig.
Okay, welcome in here. Hour number 2 on the Fitness Fanatics. We're joined in studio by Matthew Nolde. If you missed any part of the first hour, you can find us on theticketfm.com. Under our podcast page. We're also on iTunes, any podcast platform you listen to, we are under there under the Fitness Fanatics. So really, really fun first hour. All right. So this next segment, we want to get into Matthew's kind of, now that he's an adult, his fitness. So I know now you're a big time runner, do half marathons, 5Ks, those types of things. But before, you mentioned you started running in 2015. So before that, what was kind of for your fitness before you became a runner? Like what did you do anything before you started running?
So I've not been an unhealthy person before, but I mean it's the consistency in my fitness was never quite there. I do some here and some there, some light, lifting, or I did, years ago when those T25 or Insanity videos.
Oh, absolutely. Sean T. Oh, absolutely.
That about killed me. I love challenges. So I was like, I'm going to do this. Halfway through, I felt like a frog. There's just so much jumping around and but I think I went through a pretty rough breakup in 2015, and it kind of brought me down. And I thought to myself, I need to do something physically to get myself out of that. So I did start running. Whereas before, I mean, the most running I did was someone was chasing me or, something was left in the fridge, I'd run there. But
before the kids got it.
Right. But no, I just started running 1 mile, and then it eventually led to 2 miles. And then my first 5K was the Nebraska Road Race in 2016.
Okay.
I didn't have my running legs then, so I ran on my walking legs, and it was pretty nice. I enjoyed it. Signed up for the Lincoln Half.
Mm-hmm.
I ran that with my walking legs and ended up breaking my left one halfway through, and I'm like, well, shit, I can't just stop or shoot. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
We gotcha.
Sorry, potty mouth. So I kept going. Obviously, my time wasn't great, but at that time, my goal for my first Lincoln Half was just finish.
Yes.
Yes. Just finish.
Was that the year we did it?
First year we did it was 2017.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yep.
Well, that may
It
have
might have been
been
2017
Yeah, okay.
2016. I can't recall.
Okay.
But, and then I just kept running, I mean, I hate to sound like Forrest Gump, but I just kept running. It just, it felt good.
Yeah.
I think it does something for you mentally as well. There's a lot more clarity when you have a physical fitness routine and you stick with it.
And you can work stuff out in your brain
Right.
while you're running, or not, or just check out for a while, which is also kind
Yeah.
of nice about running, because you can kind of do one or the other and you don't feel like you have to be just sitting in it all
Mm-hmm.
the time. So I think that's part of the mental part of running for sure.
Right.
Mhm.
It's more Forrest Gump references
I
right there.
know.
The whole reason.
I know.
For what I just love that movie.
Right.
That quote he
Forrest
brought up.
Gump.
I just it's one of my favorite parts.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, it's I'm not saying it's the only antidepressant, but it definitely brought me out of a pretty rough part in my life. So I stuck with it. And then, eventually I got my diet, my, nutrients right. I'm still battling that a little bit, but, I'm trying to count macros. I don't know who the heck does that, but that's just insane,
It's hard.
like,
Yeah.
how much protein and carbs and fat and like, but I'm trying to get that a little bit back on track. But yeah, my fitness journey started with running.
So
doing-
is a half marathon the longest distance you've done? Do you have
It-
aspirations to do longer?
When I start the half marathon, I'm like, I could probably do a full marathon.
I know.
But when I finish the
Yeah.
half marathon and I see people still going,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, they're nuts.
There was, I guarantee you, there was a time today that Jeff was thinking you could do another marathon.
The marathon didn't cross.
Oh, not yet. Okay, not
No,
yet.
I
First long run in a while. So
Was that before or after the skunk? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the question.
Well,
I think the skunk derailed all thought processes
if
for the
I
next
cut
hour.
my skunk speed,
there you go.
Man, I'd be just
Set up a bunch of skunks
Right.
after they set you off for the race.
That's a new race, like
Oh,
maybe strategy. Not instead of running with the bulls.
It was
running
only
with the
about
skunks.
it's only about 15 seconds, but it was just I
Flying.
felt like a world class athlete. But afterwards, my heart was just
Felt like that day at Nebraska football fall camp.
Yeah.
What's that?
It felt like the same day you did on Nebraska camp.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Running your 40 or whatever.
When I caught my touchdown during
Yeah.
the scrimmage, yeah, just like that.
Anyway, so yeah, no, I don't. I mean, we've done marathons. They're kind of overrated as far as I'm concerned. It's a great way to hate running for a good amount of time. After my last half marathon, I posted that running puts the FU in fun. Running is in fun. That's right. Yeah. So that's what a marathon does to you. Yeah. You can finish a half marathon and feel good about yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, it's an accomplishment. I mean, any kind of run, really. I feel like even a mile, if that's where you're starting, that's awesome.
Mhm.
And I always live, kind of like the hustle day by day. Get better and better.
And sometimes you have bad runs. Have you had encounters like Jeff had today? Have you had any running adventures gone
Yeah.
wrong?
Yeah. So when I used to live in Lincoln, I would run on Antelope Trail, kind of by the zoo.
Mhm.
Sure.
And there's some areas where there's some trees overhanging the trail. And I remember one morning it was kind of a dewy morning, and there's spider webs.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see it.
Mm-mm.
Ran right smack through it, and then that's the fastest way to turn into a runner from a from a runner to a ninja. Just
Yes.
Luckily there wasn't too many people around, so I didn't freak anybody
Then you
out.
spend the next 10 minutes just paranoid there's a spider on you
Oh, yeah,
somewhere. I know.
right? Trying to peel it off your face, and
Those are traumatic.
yeah, but I never ran into a skunk. That would definitely would improve your smell for sure.
It was.
I was surprised to see it when I saw it, but like I said, it was far away and it was running away. So I don't know what it did. But anyway, yeah. So that was the first time I've seen a skunk in Lincoln. So
Have you done any other half marathons, or what's kind of your obviously when you get a run into Memorial Stadium, that's pretty awesome to
Right,
finish on the
right.
field. But what have been your favorite 5Ks, 10Ks, over the last few years that if people are thinking, oh, what I'd like to do a 5K, or
Right.
what would have been your favorite runs?
So I've done the Lincoln half twice. I've done a Good Life halvesy twice.
Okay.
That one is fun. I think people maybe enjoy that one more because it's less hills.
it's not
Um,
though.
There's one at the beginning, but
Yeah,
that's about
and
it.
the end when you're running up
Up
yeah,
the-
right.
Yeah, true. That
You
is
sound like a runner. Listen to you. It's
the
not
last
hilly.
one.
Well,
Last
yeah,
one.
it is.
Well, I live south of Omaha, and there's a ton of hills,
Yeah.
so I'm kind of starting to get used to the hills.
Yeah, I prefer the
but-
Lincoln half to the Good Life. I mean, I've done both, and they're both great races. But yeah, it's just kind of a false advertising when they say it's a flat course, because it's not. It starts and ends on a hill somehow. But yeah,
in between there.
it is. You're right.
not
It's
too many.
totally
Yeah.
flat in between.
Um,
You're right.
But and then 5Ks like the Nebraska Road Race. I got involved a few years back in the Blade 5K. It's a nonprofit out of Omaha. They provide running blades or more adaptive athletic wheelchairs to athletes. That one is a lot of fun, probably because I'm a little partial to being an amputee myself.
Oh, well, sure.
Yeah.
And this year we had a ton more amputees there. So
That's awesome.
that's a lot of fun.
So is that like a spring race then?
It's in July.
Oh, okay.
It's out at the College of St. Mary in Omaha.
Okay.
And then this year is my first year of doing the 3, what are those? The Bryn races, the Leprechaun Chase in March. And then we just did the Werner Park cornfield to cornfield, which I still didn't see a cornfield. Still wondering why it's called cornfield to cornfield. And then the one in September, Harvest Moon.
Oh, yeah.
It's my first year signed up for those 3. And those are a lot of fun. I kind of like the 10Ks because they're a little bit more than a 5K, but not quite as exhausting as a half marathon.
I agree. Yeah.
You still feel like you can do something the rest of the day.
Yeah. And you feel like you got a good workout in.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
I feel that way too. I like 10Ks a lot. I don't do them very often, but like 5Ks, you know, you could go do that by yourself. You know what I mean? You
Right.
know, you could go out and run a 5K on
Yeah.
your own. So it's
Yeah.
kind of fun to be around other people. But that 10K, it's a little more of a challenge, I think. Yeah, I like 10Ks.
Yeah,
a
I
lot.
agree.
Yeah. That's 6 miles, kind of in between.
It's fun. I seem to have like a time down for each one now, a 5K, 10K, and a half marathon. So now I have goals, you know, to meet or to surpass. So it's kind of nice to do that.
And you're always, we kind of joke, it's like for your PRs, you're always competing against a younger version of yourself.
I guess.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of
when
rude.
you-
Yeah, there needs to be a handicap for
Yeah.
as you get older,
I
especially
guess
if you
if
start
think about
running.
it that way.
Yeah.
But
Once you get to 45, though, then you're in a new category. Like me, now
Yeah.
I'm in a new category, 45 to 49.
You're the young buck.
I
in
am the young
age
buck.
group.
Yes. So when we do we're going to do the halvesy. I like training. I like training better for a fall half because in Nebraska in the spring, it's just, there's never, I mean, it seems like there's never a Saturday, Sunday where it's not windy, it's not rainy. It's just,
Yeah,
I
but
don't
you have
like
the
running in the
heat
wind.
when you're training for a
Yeah,
fall.
but like we get up and
half.
we ran this morning, started at 6 o'clock.
I know.
Yeah, you can always get up early and knock that out.
Yeah, I agree though. I do agree. I prefer fall.
But we're early morning. I mean, we could get up and start running at 4 o'clock.
It was too
Like,
dark.
we'd be awake and
Yeah.
I feel like trying to plan for the weather in Nebraska too is pretty well pointless.
It
Yeah.
is.
Like depending on the season, you might as well just kind of sign up and roll the dice.
But in the
Pretty much.
summer and fall, it's typically like you said, we can just get up, we can run earlier on the weekend, and then you just got it's just nicer weather. I mean, I'd rather run in the heat than wind.
Right.
Any day for me.
Yeah.
Like running wind in your face is just, it's not enjoyable. Not that running for me is enjoyable in the first place, but I want to make sure it's as enjoyable as it can get for me.
That's when I get really annoyed when I'm running. Like you ever have super strong winds when you go out for a run and it's like so loud that even with your noise canceling earbuds, you can still hear the wind just howling and muffling all
Yeah.
the music. Like that's
Or
when it's
you're
bad.
running and you're thinking you're doing awesome and this is great. It's perfect weather. And then you turn around and you didn't realize the wind was blowing the whole time until you turn around and you're running in the wind. That one really makes me mad. That happens. I didn't even know it was windy.
We do got a text from Crowbait, and I know Crowbait, you're working on your success story, so we're excited to hear from you. And
Is he at Farrell's or just working out?
Just on his own, like
Okay.
like Ben, the walleye guy we had on
Oh,
a
nice.
couple weeks ago. Just kind of inspired by Mark and the show, and I think Ben's lost like 75-80 pounds just on his
nice.
own. On his own,
That's
Yep.
awesome.
Working out at the Y, or I think at the Y in Hickman, or I think he was Planet Fitness or somewhere 25. The Y in
Yeah.
Hickman, and just following his nutrition. So I know you're working on your transformation. But he texted in and said, "I'd try a marathon, but after 5 blocks, I'd have to run back to the first 2 to pick up my ankles."
Running is tough. You got to work up to it. That's, I think, the biggest thing with running. You think you can do more than you can. It's humbling, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's humbling
Yeah.
at first, especially if you're used to exercise. If you're used to working out and you're used to lifting maybe, and you're going to
Mhm.
go to the gym and you're going to lift and you're going to be there for 35, 40 minutes, an hour. And then you just think you're just going to go run for an hour.
Right.
You can't do that.
No, they're two different things. I mean, you meet a lifter who enjoys running. That's
Right.
not too often.
No, it's very different thought process. I think that's the biggest thing with running. And you explain that too, where you start small and then you get good at that. And then you see, okay, I got 1 mile down. Let's
Right.
try for 2 miles.
Right.
Get that down, get good at that. Try for 3, The next thing you know, you're doing half marathons.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about the consistency. So something that, we had just started a fit challenge and at Farrell's, and I have logged my food every day this week. You're talking about macros and stuff like,
Like I know what to eat. We don't always have to log our food because we pretty much know the macros and most of the stuff that we eat. But when you start to like really keep track of it, it's like putting a puzzle piece together, but there's like no pictures on the puzzle. So you're just like, it's a blank puzzle and you're putting it together and you just hope that it comes together at the end. I mean, that's not true, but it's like, no, that would be like putting a puzzle together upside down. But then if you're using it as a planning tool, then that's using the pictures to put that puzzle together.
Yeah. So I when you start to run, I'm just trying to tie all this together. Sure. It's about consistency. Whatever you're doing, whether you're logging your food, whether you're starting around, whether you're starting to become a runner or even a walker, it's about consistency. So I was kind of joking with some of our members, like, Thursday, I was like, I have logged my food 3 consecutive days right now. And
I am not a changed person.
I don't know if this program works that I've been owning for 10 years and I've been at for 15 years. Like, I mean, I just don't see any changes right now.
It's been 3 days.
3 days. And this is me who knows the process
works.
But the point is like, we get that in our heads that, we want instant gratification, instant success, instant change. And, and we even have people that come to our gym that'll come Monday, Tuesday, and then we won't see them for 2 weeks, and they come for a few days and we don't see them for 2 weeks. Well, when you're inconsistent like that, you're never giving your body a chance to change. When you're just up and down like that, I mean, it just takes time.
Yeah, because by this morning you're annoying because you feel incredible and you're just like, I feel great. This is amazing. I'm ready to go. Like, yes, that's what happens when you eat vegetables and like eat enough protein and drink all your water every day.
Yeah. No,
it's a miracle.
And for us, I mean, yes, we're gym owners and we've been own Farrell's for over 10 years. And, there's times where we fall off the wagon and
with nutrition, especially
with workout every day. I mean, because that we have to, because that's our job, which I think that's why we're gym owners. So
I enjoy it.
We have to work out every day. But, for us, it's just getting off of the nutrition and we make excuses. Oh, the kids home for the summer. It's so hard to eat healthy. I mean, like we've heard everything and we've used everything. We've lived everything. I had this quote that actually Ben Garver shared it on Facebook, and I kind of stole it from him. I'm just gonna find this real quick and read it because I wanted to touch on this today. Excuses. It's really good. And again, shout out to Ben, who I stole it from and then posted on.
And I told you that's one of our daughter's favorite quotes. That's what kind of helps her when she's trying to get,
Yeah, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she loves that quote.
I knew that Broderick Thomas played for the Tampa Bay Bucks in 1991, but I did not know that this is one of our daughter's favorite.
This was brand
quotes.
New information for you when you saw that.
That's how our brain works, I guess.
Remember the important parts.
Yeah, that's right. So it says, excuses make today easy, but tomorrow harder. Discipline makes today hard, but tomorrow easier. So knowing who our guest was today, I thought, okay, I really need to run Sunday. What's my excuse not to do it? And because I know the more I delay starting to run and train for the halvesy, the harder it's going to get. So that's why this kind of stuck with me. Like, yes, I need to run. I got to teach legs today. I can't run.
It's only July. The race isn't until November.
Plenty of
That's
time.
Your
Yeah, I got
toxic trait.
plenty of time to get ready for this. So as I knew you were coming in, I'm like, okay, I bet he's going to get out and do a run this weekend, and he doesn't have any feet. I mean, so he has to I got to put these legs on, and I could just get up and go. I didn't have an excuse. So I planned all week. I was like, okay, I'm going to run Sunday morning. Told Nicole yesterday I was going to run with her. She's like, oh, okay, sure you are.
I knew you would. I wasn't. I was joking.
And then I forgot my running shoes at the gym. I'm like, oh. So I had to make a special trip out last night to get my shoes. So I was ready. So I didn't want to have any excuses. I was up 5:30. She usually doesn't go out till 7. I was up ready. I was ready to go. And we got out, started at 6, and I ran for an hour. And what I'm always amazed at is just the fact that, and you probably have the same feeling, that I could just go run for an hour, and I've ran one time since June, and I can physically do it.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I'm a runner by nature, but just because I take care of myself, eating healthy for the last
6
week
days.
anyway. But that's just, just for eating healthy for a week and logging my calories and knowing what I'm putting in my body has made such a difference. But we get a couple days in, 2-3 days in, and we're just so hard on ourselves. No, I can't do it. And we talk to ourselves would we give our kids the advice we give ourselves? So I'm going to leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take a break. I do want to get into mindset with Matthew when we come back from break. So I think that's going to be very important. So don't go anywhere on 93.7 The Ticket.
Too many people believe that chronic pain, allergies, or illness are permanent and something you're stuck with. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness has been proving that narrative wrong for 20 years and changing lives for the better. Their team is trained in advanced pain relieving tech to deal with toxins, allergies, pollution, and a day for a free consultation at 531-254-5695 or go to NovotnyNutritionandWellness.com. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness, located at 7th and Superior.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never pushed for me to be better because they knew what I come and who I could be as a person. My support is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Foundation and the Ad Council.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take, but it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Sometimes playing with a healthy fear is good because it makes you go, 100 out. Because the more tentative you are, I always told kids, I said, listen, if you don't like this and you don't want to play, don't play. Because you're going to be worse off and probably more by being tentative in your play as opposed to playing all out.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, I regret to inform you that your husband was in. Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury doing school full time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to get that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved ones.
AARP.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
1 in 3 adults has diabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you. Football buddy. Football buddy. Or you, your best man. Your worst man. You, your dog walker. Your cat jogger. 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's prediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, me, my karaoke partner, my me Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in, Fitness Fanatics. Crowbait got your texts. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you. All right, so back to Matthew. So we're going to talk a little weight training because you do weight training also. Sent me a picture of you doing some squats. You got a squat rack. So
were they squats or deadlifts?
Those were deadlifts.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
It was a squat rack.
Right. Yeah.
Give me some bands. I know what's going on for strength training.
Training. Yeah. Yeah.
We have dumbbells at the gym, but we do some deadlifts and stuff, but we don't do, like
barbell exercises.
I don't even know what some of that stuff's called. So.
Right. Yeah, so is that that's kind of a newer hobby that you picked up? Fitness hobby, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've done a couple online strength training challenges.
Mm-hmm.
One was right after New Year's, and then one just ended recently, a summer shred type of a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But my weightlifting, I think, was inspired by my son. He about a year and a half ago kept bothering me for space in the garage. I'm like, I don't know about that because I have an old VW bus and that's in the garage.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of room behind the bus that we bought a used squat rack and then just started looking for used weight equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was really into weightlifting. He still is. Summertime, not as much, kind of, lazy teenager.
Sleeping in a little up too late. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's a wrestler as well. So he wanted to put on some muscle last year. And so he I don't think he intended to, but just by seeing him go out there and lift, I thought to myself, I've got the running down. I love running.
Yeah.
But I've never really, other than bands or yoga or stretching or body weight exercises.
Right.
I've never really gotten into the weights. I have a supported weight system in my basement, like one of those old Wider or Weeder gym sets, that you can, it's all supported. It's not like a free weight thing.
Sure.
So I use that quite a bit myself, but I found some straps. They're not, I don't think they're intended for amputees, but they're called Flexolate straps, and they go around like your forearms, and then they have a loop that goes around the bar.
Okay.
So I can do a lot of pulls with that.
Yeah.
Still haven't quite figured out how I can do like a bench press, something that I can grip.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But the pulls have been really quite fun for me. You know, like when I started deadlifting, it was 85 pounds. I was like, man, this is hard, you know. But I stuck with it. Like
Yeah.
you were talking about earlier, your quote about discipline. I mean, that's what it is. Anybody can be determined, but it's like, how much discipline are you going to put into this?
Right.
Are you going to do it for a week?
Mhm.
Are you going to do it for 2 weeks? Or are you going to stick with it? Because all too often, you know, we live in like a microwave society where we want results right now.
Right.
And if we don't see them right now, then it's not worth our time. But I can tell you, after lifting for 6 months, like I can definitely tell a difference. Even ironically, I don't know if many lifters will agree with me, but I can tell a difference in my running too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
My leg strength is better, I think. And so, yeah, I've gotten into the weightlifting, and I've increased my deadlift from 85 pounds to 200 pounds, and it's using those straps. So when I pull the weight up, I'm pulling it a little further than I probably should, just because my arms are kind of shorter, I guess, and the straps are right around your elbow area.
Yeah.
So when I pull my deadlift up, it's going above my waist, whereas, you know,
Yeah.
someone with hands probably just pulls up to like their thigh area.
Well, and you're starting from a higher point too, then probably. Yeah.
Kind of.
So like
I suppose you.
the range of motion is probably similar. It's just you're
Probably.
starting from a higher point where someone deadlifting maybe starting lower. So
Right.
that makes sense.
Right. And I've befriended people on Instagram who have given me pointers as well. You know, like when I do my deadlift, for some reason I do like a shrug when I get all the way up, which you're not really supposed to do in a deadlift. I mean, you can, I suppose. You're working.
Yeah, but if you're really trying to like build for that strength,
Right.
at some point you're going to max out your shrug versus your deadlift, and then you might get hurt. That's, that's
I
no
think
fun.
my next goal is to get a belt, because I'm starting to get the weight up where it's like, okay, I might need a belt to wear as well. But I've loved the strength training, and I really want to take it further. Like I want to do more, maybe even look into, like, I have my running legs, maybe look into like weightlifting arms or hands that I can grip stuff, and that way I can do more of the free weights and more of the bench presses without a supported system.
Right. You talked about building strength in your legs has helped with running. That's something we always talk about, like when our members are like, well, I'm going to do training for this half, so I just need to quit coming to ferals, or I'm just not going to do leg day. Like
running on strength training days instead of coming to strength training, they'll go run
on leg day instead of actually doing leg day.
Right.
But then when Nicole's out running, like she'd run with some of our friends in Iowa, you know, it's hill time. And she's up at the top of the hill and they're way down below,
right? Because
her legs are so much stronger because of strength training days. You know, so that's something we really, if you're out there and you're training for run, you know, you could still do strength training, because that's going to help get your legs stronger and really help with those hills, especially.
Yeah, it's good for injury prevention too, as a runner, for sure. Well, and I think it's important for people to, like, you know, really think about how you said you started in January and it's taken you until July, you know, it's taken you 6+ months to kind of get to this point. And that's a lot of you taking the time, being patient with yourself, building that strength, instead of just thinking, racing to get to 200-pound deadlift. Like you took the time to do it, and then you get to enjoy that process too. I think that's something that you probably have gotten down quicker than most people when it comes to their fitness journey, is kind of enjoying the process of it. Would you agree that that's kind of part of it for you?
Yeah. I mean, they always say the journey is the best part, right? I mean, it's hard to see that at the beginning.
Yep.
But yeah, once you get to where you want to go, or you're surpassing a goal, you look back at your journey, it feels good. You know, you feel like you have accomplished something, and it's, you know, it's a battle within yourself, really.
Yep.
I always feel like if I can just be a better version of myself than I was yesterday, You know, we're all going to have our down days, but that's where the discipline comes in. Like,
well, and I also wanted to talk about, so you're on Instagram, Peaceful Moon, right? On Instagram _peaceful_moon. And you had talked about how you are a art teacher. So explain to us about that, because that kind of ties into what we were talking about before about like eliminating excuses. You know, we've talked a lot about you know, your running legs and stuff like that, but like you have posted some of your artwork on Instagram and it's amazing. And just kind of explain that process. Like, how did you get into art? Because I feel like so many people, you would just have a an excuse about like, oh, I could never do that. But you're doing it and you're really good at it and you made a job out of it.
Right.
So go ahead and talk about that process. It's the same thing, like getting out of your head and just like doing what you can and getting better at it.
I think I loved art at an early age. It wasn't until college that I thought, well, maybe I could be a teacher of art. You know, I just knew I was terrible at math and, you know, any other subject. I was like, well, I'm not going to be a very good teacher in that. So you teach what you're passionate about. And my art has always been a passion of mine. I don't know if it ever really occurred to me that, you know, like I'm overcoming something when I draw, because I mean, I guess that's one of the differences between an amputee and a congenital amputee. Like myself, I'm a congenital amputee, so I've not known what it's like to have it and lost it. I've spoken to a lot of like combat vets that come back and they're just looking for somebody to, you know, help them and tell them how it is. And it's, you know, I can be empathetic for them. You know, we've probably have some similarities, but like they had something for years and now they don't. So they're starting all the way over. Whereas I adapted from birth pretty much, you know? So for me, I guess growing up, my mom really wanted me to wear hooks, you know, and I would always hide them. So I pretended I couldn't find them because I hated them. But I suppose for me, that would almost be like a combat vet coming back and relearning how to do something. Like I hated the hooks because it just felt so unnatural to me. I'd rather pick something up with the two ends of my arms and hold it with two instead of trying to figure out, you know, how can I hold this with one hand? Although, you know, lifting, I'm trying to get to the point where I can do that. But yeah, typically, you know, I pick up a pen or a pencil with the ends of my arms and that's how I draw. I mean, it's just, that's what came natural to me at a young age. And it's just been like that ever since.
I think that's like, to you, that doesn't seem inspirational because that's how it's always been. But like for other people, that is really inspirational, because if we could just approach something that we're interested in but nervous about, if we could approach it from that mindset, like, no, this might not look the same as it does to everyone else. Like I am not built to be a runner. Like I do not have myself. I do not have the body type of a runner. I'm never going to be a super fast runner, but like I could just let that keep me from doing races and stuff like that, because I don't look like the people that are, you know, passing me in the races and stuff. But if we can just come from that mindset of like, okay, this is the reality of what I have that I'm dealing with, whether that's an injury or, you know, something that you were born with, and you have like really overcome that. And that seems normal to you, but I think it's a message that a lot of people kind of need to hear too, that you're just like, but why wouldn't I? This is something that I was interested in doing and I was going to find a way to do it.
For sure. I mean, I've, you know, back in college, if I was meeting somebody for the first time and I told them I was going to be a teacher, a lot of times they would think, oh, it must be a special ed teacher. And I know that's just a terrible like assumption because of how I look. But I'm like, oh, I'm an art teacher. And then their mind is like blown. Like, what? You know? So it's just, I think if people know who I am and have known me for a while, they don't think twice. But yeah, new people, you know, they might be struck a little bit like, oh, how does he do that? You know?
But you just, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how
I mean,
you've always done it.
New students every year that are like, what? My art teacher doesn't have hands. This is so strange.
It's going to be the easiest year ever.
Right?
We don't have to do anything.
Right. And then I draw for them and they're like, oh, okay, well,
That's so cool. I think
Yes.
that would be so cool to have you as an art teacher, especially as an elementary school art teacher. That's really cool. Like you're impacting those kids from your perspective.
Right.
Yeah,
And
in an early age.
Hopefully I'm showing them that differences
Yeah.
should be embraced.
Right.
You know, just because somebody looks or acts or is different than you doesn't mean, they're not human,
Yeah.
So
Or capable or
Right.
I wanted to read this last paragraph that you sent me. It has
Sure.
to do with mindset, and then you can elaborate on that. So we just have a few minutes before we go to break. So you said, I've been told the only disability is a poor mindset, and I truly believe that. My mindset is mine to set. If I allow the doubts of others to overload my thoughts, I'll eventually start believing that garbage and it'll pull myself down. I have chosen to see past current pain and struggles and envision my fruitful future. No matter the losses, no matter my circumstances, I will not give up on this life. I will keep living. I will always be a fighter. My mantra is to be better than yesterday. If you can strive for that, you're headed in the right direction. What just awesome advice that is. So if you want to elaborate on that, and then we'll head to break here in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I think just your mindset is yours to set. I think there's just too many times people will get down, maybe one person or two people are doubting them, and so then they start doubting themselves, and before you know it, you're stuck in a rut, and I've been there before. It's not a bad thing, but it's how you get back up. And I don't want to just lay there and do nothing. Life is just such an amazing gift that we have, and to be able to wake up every day and see that sunset, sunrise, and all that stuff is just an amazing. Like, you get up and run. What a gift that is, and let's not take that for granted. I may look different, I may do things a little bit different, but I do want to be better than yesterday every day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Every day.
Yep, that's good advice. It's a good, the mindset being yours, to set is a really good kind of mantra for people to have, because like you said, you do kind of get in your head, and sometimes you don't realize that some of those things that you have, those doubts that you have, you didn't even put them there. Like you said, it could just be somebody else like questioning something, and that's just their insecurities kind of being pushed onto you, and we can get stuck in that, but it is really important to kind of find a way to overcome that.
Right.
And then you're just kind of,
it's tough.
Yeah, it can be hard.
We play mind games with ourselves. I mean, I can sit there and think, oh my gosh, we only have 40 people for this challenge and not 100, and this is just it's like, so you can sit there and you can think that way, but then I can just be like, okay, we have 40 new lives to help change.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So how you look at things, but it's hard because we always go to the negative.
We tend to.
We that's just kind of what we just do as humans. We're just like, somebody got on the scale and they lost 1 pound, but they lost 6 pounds of fat and 8 inches and
healed their relationship with food and movement.
They feel like before they get on the scale, they all say, well, how are you feeling? Oh, I feel so much better. My
clothes are fitting better. I sleep better. Yeah.
And then they get on the scale and they lose a pound. They're just, well, this is just like they instantly depressed because of what that number on the scale says, even though they've just told me how much better they feel. And but it's just like, but we go right to the one thing that might not be how we want it. And that's what we focus on. So it is tough. It's definitely
but you miss
tough.
out on a lot of beautiful sunrises and sunsets and experiences. And so
all right, we're going to take our last break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little Husker football upcoming season with our guest Matthew. So don't go anywhere. 92.7 The Ticket on the Fitness Fanatics.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 50 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of group homes to independent training, you'll find support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open position at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister, even members of my 21-person romantic club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The wait is almost over. The Guardians of Freedom Air Show is the hottest event in the area. Coming to Lincoln's Air Park on Saturday, August 26th and Sunday, August 27th. Elevate your show experience with to the premium seating tent, padded seats, meals, and more for just $125. Premium tickets are going fast, so buy yours today. Premium tickets, and for more information, visit LincolnAirshow.com. We'll see you at the Guardian Air Show in late August.
It, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it. Slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it. Slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Nurses Administration.
As an 18-year-old, I let my kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
A year later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family needed for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Segment here on the show for today. We're going to talk a little Husker football. Most of our guests that come into the studio are Nebraska fans. So I know one of the reasons I started advertising on the ticket at first was just so I could come in here and talk about sports. So,
is that really why?
It
was part of it.
If I get
yeah.
any enrollments, who cares?
Yeah.
I just want to be on the radio.
I was curious. Was that a big part though? It's like, yeah, that's good for you guys marketing wise, but I also am excited to talk sports.
100%.
Yes.
Just to come into the studio.
Yes. So I always like when our guests come in, they always like talking about Husker football. So
sports radio station.
Yes. So, all right, Matthew, what do you think? New coach, new season. What are your thoughts about the 2023 season as we're now 32 days away?
Right. Gosh.
No swear words.
Now's the tough conversation right now. The rest was easy.
Right.
Now we get in. We have to think about what's going on.
5 minutes for the burner
Yep.
question.
Yep.
That's a tricky one. Having lived through our glory days, you're always just expecting us to win. It wasn't like, can we win? It was like, how much are we going to win by?
Mm-hmm.
But over the past decade plus, it's just been, I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from the new coaching staff, but every single new coach we get all pumped up about, even on t-shirts, like Bo Knows, or like
Bo Knows,
Riled
Corn
Up,
Coast,
or Frost Morning. I mean, it was just every coach. It didn't matter who it was. There was so much hype, and it's like,
did
we know all the taglines.
Did you get your? It's not the West Coast, it's the Corn Coast
Corn
offense
Coast.
shirt.
Right.
Remember that?
Oh, the Calibraska era?
No, the Corn Calibraska was Riley.
Yeah.
This was instead of the West Coast, people were calling it the Corn Coast.
Because he ran the West Coast.
He ran the West Coast offense.
No, I didn't catch that one.
Yeah.
The Corn Coast. So yeah, that was a shirt. I remember
that one.
Yep.
Yeah,
So that was another one.
I must have just erased those years.
Yeah.
From my mind. I don't know. I'm excited as a Husker fan. I think everybody has like this excitement. I mean, fall in Nebraska every Saturday is just it's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. But I'm not trying to be pessimistic.
It's okay. You got someone has to balance Jeff out.
I just kind of want to wait and see, and give this guy some time. I know at the Nebraska road race, just interacting with the players, I won't name any, but it seems like everyone I talk to really has embraced the new staff, the new culture. They seem more positive, happy. And I think that is definitely on the right track.
Yeah.
See, you're talking yourself into it now.
If it translates to the field, awesome.
Yeah.
But I think just building that culture and those character, getting that mindset, like we already talked about, getting that set. I think we have the capability to be good. I do think Husker fans of old need to probably start to realize that the landscape of college football isn't what it was in the 80s and 90s. Winning championship every single year, probably not plausible like it was back then. I mean, look at the super conferences we have now. It's just, back in the day when we used to win the Big 12 North, we always thought, well, that was just who cares,
right? Yep.
Give us the whole conference.
We're just, who cares?
Gimme.
We were like, we don't want this Big 12 North banner
Right,
anywhere to
right.
be seen.
I mean, if you win your division, it almost is a big thing.
I know, yeah. Oh, it'd be a parade, everything. We're ready.
So yeah,
That's
I'm
true.
excited. I just want to hold a little bit with my drinking the Kool-Aid. So.
That's okay. I said it's. I was drinking it last year, and
You've never stopped drinking it till football season starts.
that's because
And
for
then
the
you switch
last
to Fireball.
7 years, 8 years, the only time we've been able to be happy is right now
Right.
in July.
Right.
In August, because come September, that's when we haven't been 1-0 for 5 years. This is 2019. We've lost our opener 3 years in a row.
Yeah, I remember. It's been tough. I'm with Matthew. I'm gonna hold off a little bit. That's why
Well,
I'm
don't
saying anywhere
try.
between 5 and I'm not even gonna guarantee bowl game yet. It is. I mean, first year. There's just
After
a
the
lot of new
first
coach.
game,
Yeah, just a
will you
lot of
maybe-
Big Ten's just kind of unknown.
Now,
right
what
now.
if we go out and beat Minnesota?
I'm holding on to my expectations still. I don't want to get too crazy. I just don't, because Minnesota's, they had some crazy stuff going on too with the whole people trying to call out PJ Fleck. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about that because I don't know what's all true yet. He denied it pretty hard. The AD denied it pretty hard.
I thought he did a really good job of answering those questions.
Him and Northwestern, I'll give them both credit, Northwestern intern, but they just kind of came in and PJ Fleck got in front of it really early.
Yeah.
He came in there early, and same thing with Western. He was there real short, but he just talked about it quick and moved on.
Well, listening to Coach Rowe when he was on with the guys with DP and on that Wednesday or Thursday, you know, he's talking about like, hey, Coach, what about game 2? You know, you think, oh, so he mentions game 2. We play Colorado. Game 5, we play Michigan. What about game 2, game 5? He's just like, I'm trying to focus on game 1. Nebraska's 3-7. 3-7.
Oof.
Let that sink in, Harrison. 3-7 against Minnesota in the last 10 games.
Yeah.
3-7.
I'm not surprised. Like I've
So he's
Minnesota
like,
is a
we're
team that has
focusing
not
on
gotten our respect.
We're focusing on game 1.
As we should be.
We can't look ahead.
And what was it, 2020, when we thought it was a chalk W because their entire offensive line had COVID, and they ran the ball on us pretty easily.
Yeah,
I think it was Tanner Morgan actually had a good game throwing the ball too. Which
and we
unique.
were supposed to be running because their whole defensive line was out. We just passed like 50 times. Oh yeah, that. Oh yeah, we could. Yeah,
to the future though.
You know, just think like if we win that first game. Usually my whole attitudes. If we lose, I'm just like, I don't care about these other college games. I'm just.
Oh, you turn the TV off?
Well, I have it on.
Still watch it. Don't.
I usually watch.
Okay.
There's
No.
two reasons to watch college football on Saturdays. One is to watch Nebraska win. 2 is to watch Iowa lose. Those are the 2 games I will watch in their entirety. But think like if Nebraska wins that game against Minnesota, how much more like I'll be 11 o'clock. Let's get these games on. Here we go. What I'll be so fired up.
I'll be excited because Minnesota's a respectable team at this point.
Yeah,
That's a good win.
You'll be fired up to watch Colorado, TCU, do a little scouting. But if we lose, it's just the luster is like it's just a little off, you know. Like I won't be all that excited to watch. I mean, I'll watch obviously, but I don't have that pep in my step.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to know what it's like to run a Farrell's in Lincoln when Nebraska's good.
I bet just different. I mean, it's not an exaggeration to say the ego of Nebraska seriously rides on Husker football sometimes.
I know.
It does.
Which is crazy to say.
I think so. I agree.
So hopefully
Matthew, what's your prediction for?
Yeah. Give us a now
record.
Every guest now has to give us a prediction for the season.
We won't hold it to it, but
I am just hoping for more wins than 4. My prediction, probably a bowl game, 6-6, something like that. 6-7.
All right.
Get the parade out. Start the
go.
statue being built. Bowl game for the first time since 2016. I have never watched a bowl game with my son. Nebraska's been in.
Oh my God! I thought it was 2016.
Well, he
2017.
didn't watch football.
He didn't watch. Ben didn't watch football then.
He didn't watch football.
Yeah. But
So since he's been a football fan,
all right,
no bowl
you
game.
heard it here first.
Well, thank
Matthew.
you very much,
Yes.
Matthew. Your
Thank you
story
for
has
having
been
me,
great.
guys.
Hopefully, we inspired a few people out there listening. We'll be back in studio next week with you. Have a great week. Fitness Fanatics, 93.7 The Ticket.